Max Keiser invented the Hollywood Stock Exchange system, which is one of the models of virtual trading systems today. He has really chronicled beforehand much of what's unfolded with precision, including the fact that as soon as the Greek debt deal was done, Italy would be the next to implode. That's now happening, all by design. Global bank, world government openly announced. Ventura and I are criticized for even talking about it because people can hold two thoughts. World government, openly being announced, but we're bad saying it exists and are in FBI manuals as terrorists. So, insane people believe it exists, but it does exist, and it's good. By the way, the street lamps are listening to you. They have the deputy Homeland Security head actually saying, you'll never know which one has the microphone, and giggling on the news. I mean, we have reached just absolute globalist frothing level by these people, just entering into just them doing victory dances on us, spitting in our face, groping our women and children, just laughing and snickering. I've got the article right here. DHS official says you will never know if streetlights were spying on you. I mean, this is, you never know if Big Sis is watching. This has just entered total insanity. Nero, suicide banker, destroying the whole system, as Max Keiser says. He joins us to break down everything that's happening. But before we get into what's happening in Europe and how this affects us, you're over in France. We appreciate you, Max Keiser, maxkeiser.com. What is your view on the whole TSA situation, killing $40 billion a year in travel, the restaurant, the travel associations, the hotel associations for a year, begging the scum government to stop this since last November. And their answer is, we're setting it up on the highway and we're going to grope your wife's breast there. If you don't like it, a SWAT team will slaughter you and your family. I mean, it's just like beyond insanity.
Yeah, hey, Alex, thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, this TSA thing has gone global. You know, I've been doing a lot of traveling around Europe, and the same kind of groping you've been talking about in the States. You see it all over the world now, wherever you go.
So the U.S. is now the exporter of every form of vile evil.
Yeah, well, I've been having some fun with it lately in Europe because I went online and I ordered from a site called crabrevenge.com. This is, they send you crab pubic lice in the mail. And I've been putting it down the pants to these people who are groping me at the airport, giving them essentially crabs. So as they grope me, I've been putting this basically wet sand. I just kind of let that loose in their direction, and I give them lice. So when they get home that night, they have pubic lice. So now I look forward to getting groped, and I've been spread. You can go to crabrevenge.com. They send you for $20 some pubic lice in the mail. And you just use it at the airport and sprinkle it on the groper.
Is this a joke?
This is what I've been doing. This is how I roll. You know, when somebody's going to grope me, I'm going to give you lice. I mean, if we're going to have sex, you're going to get crabs.
I was about to say, why is Herman Cain, if it's true, groping women? He should be given a national security job. Herman Cain ought to work at the airport.
Exactly. So
maybe he was checking her for a bomb. How did he know she didn't have a weapon in there?
Give the TSA agent of your local.
He may have to do a proctology exam. Maybe she's got a hand grenade in the upper, you know.
Yeah, so that's the way I've been responding to all this, and you know, it's cheap. It's a good little thank you note to the agents that are into this, and it's pretty effective.
Okay, but I mean, what do you do then? Delouse yourself when you get home?
Oh, no, you know, it comes in a little plastic container. So, and it's eggs. They haven't hatched yet. So they're called nits, and they will hatch into pubic lice. And it's a very little thing. They hardly notice it. So they're just sloppy. They're not focusing on themselves. They're focusing on me.
They're busy getting off on groping, and you just kind of open your hand and project them onto them?
Yeah, just kind of let that slip, you know, in any kind of open pocket or something. And those pubic lice they'll find their way to the pubic area, and they'll have a case of crabs the next morning.
Man, you're out of your mind, man. Oh,
it's
God.
It's cheap. It's only $20. You go to crabrevenge.com.
Okay, stop it. Keiser, you're out of control. Something tells me you're really doing this. Well, you know what? They make everybody take their shoes off. I never get athlete's foot since I played football. Even at gyms I've worked out at, I don't usually take a shower there, so I never get athlete's foot. I go home and take a shower. Back when I used to work out all the time. Point is, I work out at home now. Not much, as you can tell, but the point is that now every time I fly, I get athlete's foot. I've got to put Desenex on my feet when I get home, or I get athlete's foot. I got it flying through Vegas. Thousands of people. It's filthy. And the little creature, I forgot, I didn't even have him change his gloves when he was coming at me. The MRSA, all of it. Holy mackerel. Stay there, Max Keiser. Now, Max, we've looked up the Crab Revenge site, and it looks like it's a BBC Letterman comedy show. You're not serious about it, but maybe you are. The point is that they are sexually assaulting you, but saying national security, and that it's okay, and now they're going to be on the highways. But finishing up on that topic, then I want to get into the economy. I mean, this has always been a planned implosion. And every time they take down another country and get $5 trillion, as you said last week, now they need tens of trillions more. And I guess there's just no end to it. And now they've announced giant new taxes all over the U.S., all over Europe, EU Gestapo going into the country, shaking people down. I mean, this is a military takeover.
Yeah, well, a couple of points. First of all, Crab Revenge was featured on the Jonathan Ross show in the UK. It's very real, and this has been around for a number of years. It's also, there's a site called Dog Poop, where you can have vacuum-packed dog poop sent to somebody as an act of revenge, too.
That's enough.
No, there's a lot of these different sites that people can use to enact revenge. But anyway, getting onto the economy, in Europe, as you can readily see, in Greece, they've now put in a new leader who's in bed with the IMF and the bankers to allow the austerity to be imposed unimpeded. And so this will just be the way. I just came back from Ireland, Alex, as you know, and the people there are really suffering. The government, they're passing a new $3.8 billion austerity package. They're getting rid of social services. The people can't heat their homes, and they're starving. They can't feed themselves. And then the government, on the same week, they said they discovered $3.6 billion in an accounting error that they just found magically from some error they committed last year. But the people don't get to keep that. That's going into the pockets of the bankers. And of course, Ireland has closed, kind of on a related topic, Ireland closed all of their embassies at the Vatican as part of a major pedophile scandal involving Irish priests. So everyone's quite upset about that. So the country is really going through difficult times from both the Catholic Church and from the bankers who believe they're doing God's work. And the people are left both spiritually impoverished and financially impoverished. Same thing in Greece. The people are being absolutely hoodwinked into accepting austerity measures that leaving them without enough food to eat. And now it's rolling into Italy, and of course Spain, Portugal, and now even in France, where I live. There's a new austerity package being announced, and this isn't going over well at all.
So where does it go? I mean, the banksters who created the crisis are just going to steal everything, and the police are going to stand by. I have an article where police are telling protesters there is no Constitution, and I've seen court cases where they say, don't bring the Constitution to my courtroom. I mean, just because cops say driving or owning a gun's a privilege, or they say they have a right to grab your testicles for no reason, I mean, does that just mean that they can do it?
It's about this incredible level of debt that is never paid down. Every new austerity measure and every new bailout is accompanied by a new revelation of even more debt. And this is what keeps going on and on. And we know from other guests on your show that the total debts around the world are in the hundreds of trillions of dollars, and most of those haven't even been revealed yet. So this game of accept this austerity measure today to help the problem, and then next week saying, oh, wait a minute, there's more debt, so you have to accept more austerity measure. This is just continuing, and it can continue for several more years now because there are literally hundreds of trillions of debt that have yet to be revealed. And so the people are basically left with no recourse because every time they introduce more austerity measures, they also strip civil rights. They also, especially in the United States, you see that all the time.
My God, I got to stop you. Kurt Nimmo just came out with an article, and they're announcing states all over the country, TSA is to be everywhere, and they're so arrogant, and they've got cops with guns, and you pull up, and they look at you like you're scum, and I just can't handle it anymore. I can't handle roid-head scum, anti-American filth, helping the government ship in narcotics and guns to Mexico, a bunch of Nazi criminals everywhere. What are they getting ready for? I guess the total collapse with a bunch of arrogant idiots.
Let me ask you kind of a thought exercise here. I mean, Jesse Ventura was on about him leaving the country and forsaking or renouncing his U.S. citizenship, and this became a topic of discussion. But my question is, what if Jesse Ventura had said, I'm renouncing my U.S. citizenship? Why is that controversial? Why? Tell me why that's controversial. I don't get it. Why is that controversial?
No, they use it as a way to say he's not American, which he didn't say that. The point is these people are un-American.
Why would anyone want to be American? Why would anyone want to associate themselves with what's going on over there? In other words, you've got...
It's where our families live. It's where our...
Nazi Germany. People said, the Jews said, oh, my God, it can't get any worse.
But like you said, Max, it's the New World Order taking over America. And stay there. We got to go to break.
Alex, we got
to go to break. It's like the New World Order. It's why it's happening everywhere. They're taking over. The globalists are invading America. We have the news article, more states accept TSA Viper teams at transportation hubs. Accept them, they're just doing it. The effort by the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA to expand their operations from airports to state roads and beyond is being accepted by the states and local governments. Actually, they've told them no, and they just say, shut up, we have weapons. I mean, federal police on the streets of America. And they literally bug their eyes out and run around in a crazed manner. It's really sick. I'm not even intimidated by them. I want to vomit. Bunch of cowardly scum working for a murdering, narcotics trafficking banking cartel. The effort by the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA to expand their operations from airports to state roads and beyond, man, the crooks are scared, folks. They know they brought the country down, and they're really getting ready to clamp down and stop us bringing them to justice. Basically, a bunch of Bernie Madoff, Ken Lays run the country. What would you do if you'd done all the stuff they've done? And they're taking houses on waterfronts that have been there 80 years. They're taking homes they don't own. Bank of America's taking houses they never had a deed to that are paid for. And it's like, look, we got cops with weapons. I mean, that's what tyranny is. But even few third world countries are this bad. I mean, this is crooks. But all over the country, cops take old ladies' money out of their purse. I mean, why not? It's just pure evil. God, this country's gone. The effort by the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA to expand their operations from airports to state roads and beyond is being accepted by state and local governments around the country, according to allgov.com, a website covering government activity. Allgov reports today that other states are, quote, expecting to follow and accept Viper visible intermodal prevention and response at their transportation hubs. That means highways, bus stations, train stations. Following recent operations in Tennessee, they've had them for about 5 years all over the country. They've had Marines at these with firearms. I've had U.S. Army run up to me, screaming at me. I just said, go ahead, do whatever you're going to do, punk. They're like, don't videotape me in the middle of New York. The unconstitutional operations were not in response to any particular threat, but rather, you always got to like that, designed to act as visible deterrence and detection security presence across Tennessee, as if terrorists that they've given Libya are going to care about this. They're going to look for these people to go after them. It doesn't exist. It's all staged. In other words, the operation was an effort to acclimate Tennesseans to militarized TSA units at checkpoints around the state. And then it just goes on to break that down. So Kurt Nemo's article is so important. Okay, you were getting into a fracas there as we were going up into the break, and I was interrupting you. Max Keiser, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We were discussing the merits or lack thereof of renouncing the U.S. citizenships. And, I really believe this is heading toward the incinerators. There's going to be the final solution for poverty with 50 million people on food stamps. You got more than 120 million Americans now at or below the poverty line. That's a lot of bodies to feed. J.P. Morgan can only print up so many food stamps. So you're going to start incinerating people. And, of course, after they scapegoat these people, the poor people, they'll say that they're evil, they're terrorists, they love getting groped by the TSA, and they're going to incinerate them. It's that simple. It's happened before. The same people who were in charge then are in charge now. And they know that it worked then, and it'll work now in America. And
they're like, oh, we did build the Emergency Centers Act. We're trying to get more funding for it. And Ventura in the interview is like, well, why are there kids inside there? And he goes, they're happy children. And
IBM was instrumental in the concentration camps of Germany. J.P. Morgan funded the Nazi rise to power, Coca-Cola created an orange-flavored drink for the Nazis called Fanta. That was Coca-Cola's orange Nazi drink at the time. So American companies are well-versed in incineration, well-versed in mass execution and pogroms. And when they can't feed any more of these poor people in America, they're going to burn them. And that's as simple as that. It worked before, it'll work again. If you don't want to get burned to death, leave.